Home Box Office, HBO, is an American pay television network owned by Warner Media Studios and Networks and the flagship property of parent subsidiary Home Box Office, Inc. Maintaining a general entertainment format. Programming featured on the network consists primarily of theatrically released motion pictures and original television programs as well as made-for-cable movies, documentaries and occasional comedy and concert specials. HBO, the oldest and longest continuously operating subscription television service, basic or à la carte premium, in the United States, pioneered modern pay television upon its launch on November 8, 1972. It was the first television service to be directly transmitted and distributed to individual cable television systems, and was the conceptual blueprint for the premium channel pay television services sold to subscribers for an extra monthly fee that do not accept traditional advertising and present their programming without editing for objectionable material. It eventually became the first television channel in the world to begin transmitting via growing regional pay service into a national television network in September 1975, and, alongside sister channel Cinemax, was among the first two American pay television services to offer complimentary multiplex channels in August 1991. The network operates 7 24-hour linear multiplex channels as well as a traditional subscription video-on-demand platform, HBO On Demand, and its content is the centerpiece of HBO Max, an expanded streaming platform operated separately from but sharing management with Home Box Office, Inc., which also includes original programming produced exclusively for the service and content from other Warner Media properties. The HBO linear channels are not presently accessible on HBO Max, but continue to be available to existing subscribers of traditional and virtual pay television providers, and as live streams to Apple, Amazon and Roku customers through streaming partnerships with those companies. The overall Home Box Office business unit, based at Warner Media's corporate headquarters inside 30 Hudson Yards in Manhattan's West Side District, is one of Warner Media's most profitable assets, after Warner Brothers Entertainment, generating operating income of nearly $2 billion each year as of 2017. Overview. Edit. As of September 2018, HBO's programming was available to approximately 35.656 million U.S. households that had a subscription to a multi-channel television provider, 34.939 million of which receive HBO's primary channel at minimum, 2, giving it the largest subscriber total of any American premium channel. From 2006 to 2018, this distinction was held by Starz Encore, currently owned by Lionsgate subsidiary Starz Inc., which, according to February 2015 Nielsen estimates, had 40.54 million pay subscribers versus the 35.8 million subscribers that HBO had at the time. 3.4, in addition to its U.S. subscriber base. HBO distributes its programming content in at least 151 countries worldwide to, as of 2018, an estimated 140 million cumulative subscribers. HBO subscribers through wireline. Satellite and virtual pay television providers generally pay for the network as an à la carte service, though its 7-channel multiplex is usually priced as a single package, atop a basic programming tier that includes other cable and satellite-originated channels. However, the Federal Communications Commission (FCC) requires cable providers to allow subscribers to just purchase limited basic cable, a base service tier including local and, in some areas, out-of-market broadcast stations and public, educational, and government access channels, and premium services such as HBO without necessitating that customers subscribe to expanded service. Comcast, which offered HBO as part of a bundled package of limited basic cable and internet service from October 2013 until, depending on the market, July 2014 or January 2015, is the only major provider to have actively sold the network's multiplex tier under the regulation's exact structure, 7, 8, 9, as a consequence of the primary HBO channel, as well as HBO2 and HBO also provides its content via direct-to-consumer web and mobile platforms sold independently of an existing subscription to the linear HBO channel tier. Through an eponymous unit of its sister subsidiary, Warner Media Direct operates a co-branded subscription video on demand (SVOD) streaming service, HBO Max, which launched on May 27, 2020. Available on most digital platforms and to linear HBO subscribers of participating television providers, it provides an extensive library of HBO original programs, including current and past series, made-for-TV films, documentaries and specials, and theatrical movies from sister studio Warner Bros. Pictures and other studios that distribute film content to the linear HBO television service, including titles not licensed for broadcast on HBO and including its broadcast and basic cable networks, primarily the CW, CNN, TBS, TNT and Cartoon Network. A TV Everywhere service, HBO Go, was launched in February 2010 for subscribers of the linear television service, since HBO Go was relegated from wide distribution in July 2020. It has been available as a default service for providers that do not have agreements to offer HBO Max, which replaced HBO Go as the network's companion streaming platform on most pay television providers. Through Home Box Office, Inc., it previously maintained HBO Now, a similarly structured SVOD streaming service, renamed HBO, in August 2020, that did not require a subscription to the linear HBO television service. Concluding with its replacement on Roku in December 2020, it was phased out and superseded by HBO Max on platforms that reached agreements to offer the latter service. Home Box Office, Inc. maintains a marketing unit, HBO Bulk, originally HBO Direct from 1986 to 2007, which handles sales of HBO and Cinemax's respective linear channel packages and streaming platforms as well as associated consumer marketing materials to hotels, apartments and dormitories. HBO has maintained near ubiquitous distribution in hotels and motels across the United States through agreements with DirecTV, EchoStar, SONIFI Solutions, Satellite Management Services, Inc., Tellerant Leasing Corporation, Total Media Concepts and World Cinema, as well as cable providers that maintain hospitality service arrangements with individual hotels and local franchisees of National Hotel. Many HBO programs have been syndicated to broadcast and ad-supported pay television services, usually with edits for running time and most pay television providers. Through Home Box Office, Inc., it previously maintained HBO Now, a similarly structured SVOD streaming service, renamed HBO, in August 2020, that did not require a subscription to the linear HBO television service. Concluding with its replacement on Roku in December 2020, it was phased out and superseded by HBO Max on platforms that reached agreements to offer the latter service. 14. Home Box Office, Inc. maintains a marketing unit, HBO Bulk, originally HBO Direct from 1986 to 2007, which handles sales of HBO and Cinemax's respective linear channel packages and streaming platforms, as well as associated consumer marketing materials to hotels, apartments and dormitories. HBO has maintained near ubiquitous distribution in hotels and motels across the United States through agreements with DirecTV, EchoStar, Sonifi Solutions, Satellite Management Services, Inc., Tellerant Leasing Corporation, Total Media Concepts and World Cinema, as well as cable providers that maintain hospitality service arrangements with individual hotels and local franchisees of National Hotel. Development and early expansion as a regional service, 1971 to 1975. Edit, cable television executive Charles Dolan, through his company Sterling Information Services, founded Manhattan Cable TV Services, renamed Sterling Manhattan Cable Television in January 1971. A cable system franchise serving the Lower Manhattan section of New York City, covering an area extending southward from 79th Street on the Upper East Side to 86th Street on the Upper West Side, which began limited service in September 1966. Manhattan Cable was notable for being the first urban underground cable television system to operate in the United States. Because of a long-standing New York City Council ordinance that restricted electrical and telecommunication wiring from being run above ground to prevent widespread service disruptions, as well as the multitude of tall buildings on Manhattan Island causing impairment of television signals, the company had laid cable lines beneath the streets of and into buildings throughout Manhattan. 24, with external expenses resulting in consistent financial losses. In the summer of 1971, while on a family vacation to France aboard the Queen Elizabeth II, a desperate Dolan, wanting to help Sterling Manhattan turn profitable and to prevent Time Life, Inc., then the book publishing unit of Time Inc., from pulling its investment in the system, developed a proposal for a cable-originated television channel, code-named. The conceptual subscription service would offer unedited theatrical movies licensed from the major Hollywood film studios and live sporting events, all presented without interruptions by advertising and sold for a flat monthly fee to prospective subscribers. Dolan wanted to offset the service's startup costs by having Sterling enter into carriage agreements with other cable television providers to transmit and sell the service to their customers, and draw revenue from fees charged to subscribers who added the channel onto their existing cable service, which then consisted exclusively of local and imported broadcast stations. Dolan later presented his idea to management at Time Life, who, despite the potential benefit to the company's cable assets, were initially hesitant to consider the Green Channel proposal. Attempts to launch pay television services, dating back as far as 1951, had experienced minimal success because of campaigns backed by movie theater chains and commercial broadcasters to convince television viewers that pay television would threaten the viability of the movie industry and free-to-air television access, limited user interest, and FCC restrictions on the types of programming offered to subscription services. However, Dolan managed to persuade Time Life to assist him in backing the project. On September 10, 1971, the FCC gave preemptive authorization to Time Life and Sterling Manhattan Cable to begin a pay television operation, 25-26, on November 2, 1971. Time Inc.'s board of directors approved the Green Channel proposal, agreeing to give Dolan a $150,000 development grant for the project. Time Life and Sterling Communications soon proposed for the Sterling Cable Network to be the name of the new service. Discussions to change the service's name took place during a later meeting of Dolan and the executive staff he hired to assist in developing the project, who ultimately settled on calling it Home Box Office, which was meant to convey to potential customers that the service would be the ticket to movies and events that they could see in their own home. The moniker was intended as a placeholder name in order to meet deadlines to publish a memorandum and research brochures about the new service. Management intended to come up with a permanent name as development continued. However, the Home Box Office name stuck. Multiple obstacles had to be overcome to get the service on the air. Because of a pay television franchise agreement provision by the New York City Council that prohibited Sterling Manhattan and other local cable franchises from telecasting theatrical feature films directly to their customers, Dolan chose to scout another city with two competitive cable franchisees to serve as Home Box Office's inaugural distributor. Originally, he settled on the Teleservice Cable, now Service Electric, system in Allentown, Pennsylvania. However, management found out that the city and its vicinity fell within the Philadelphia 76ers' 75-mile, 121 kilometers, television blackout radius, which the team enforced to protect revenues generated from ticket sales. Since HBO was planning to carry National Basketball Association (NBA) regular season and playoff games, any 76ers games that the service aired would have been prohibited from being shown within Allentown. Time Life subsequently agreed to an offer by Teleservice president John Wolson to launch HBO on the company's Wilkes-Barre system, located outside of the 76ers' blackout radius. Fed from an AT&T microwave link at the Pan Am building in New York, HBO, which elected to forego pursuing telecast rights to 76ers basketball games, would sign on to Teleservice's Allentown system as its second cable affiliate in February 1973. 24, 27, 30, original HBO logo, used from November 8, 1972 to April 30, 1975. Home Box Office launched at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on November 8, 1972, 31, 32, 33. The service's inaugural program and event telecast, a National Hockey League (NHL) game between the New York Rangers and the Vancouver Canucks from Madison Square Garden, part of a long-term agreement to broadcast sports events based at the Manhattan Arena. 34, was transmitted that evening over Channel 21, its original assigned channel on the Teleservice system, to its initial base of 365 subscribers in Wilkes-Barre. A plaque commemorating the launch event is located at Public Square in downtown Wilkes-Barre. Established in honor of Service Electric's April 1984 addition of HBO sister channel Cinemax to its lineup. The first movie presentation shown on the service aired immediately after the sports event, the 1971 film Sometimes a Great Notion, starring Paul Newman and Henry Fonda. 32, 36, 27, 37, initially airing nightly on an open-ended schedule dependent on the length of the evening's programs, usually from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Home Box Office's programming initially consisted solely of theatrical films, including 4 or 5 recent titles per month, and event programming. Each evening's schedule was arranged to present either a double feature, which, under FCC anti-siphoning rules then maintained to protect programming supply for broadcast stations until they were struck down by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit in March 1977, 38, tended to be releases dating no more than 2 years from their initial theatrical exhibition, or a combination of either a sports or special event and a theatrical movie, often bridged by a short film or other interstitial content. HBO's launch came with very little fanfare in the press, other than print advertisements promoting the launch in the Wilkes-Barre Times-Leader. The service's debut lacked coverage from local or national media outlets. The city administrator of Wilkes-Barre declined an offer to attend the launch ceremony, while Time Inc. Vice President J. Richard Monroe became stranded in traffic on the George Washington Bridge en route from Manhattan, and was not able to arrive in Wilkes-Barre for the ceremony, further complicating preparations for the inaugural telecast, in Midtown Manhattan. Strong winds, produced by a storm system that brought areas of freezing rain over portions of the New York City area that evening, toppled the Pan Am Building reception dish being used to relay the home box office signal to microwave towers linked to Teleservice's Wilkes-Barre head end. Time Life representatives sent a technician to repair the antenna in time for the service's launch, completing maintenance about 25 minutes before the initial telecast. 40, 41, 36, 42, 43. By the end of 1972, the service was received by 1,395 subscribers, all from teleservice customers in Wilkes-Barre. 44. This number increased to around 4,000 subscribers by February 1973, across teleservices Wilkes-Barre, Allentown and Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Systems replaced Dolan as the company's president and CEO, following an aborted attempt by Warner Communications to purchase Sterling. On July 19, 1973, Time Inc. replaced Dolan as the company's president and CEO, following an aborted attempt by Warner Communications to purchase Sterling. On July 19, 1973, Time Inc. reached an agreement to purchase and assume debt of Sterling Communications for $6.2 million. Time completed its acquisition of Sterling on September 18, 1973, formally dissolving the Sterling Holding Company and transferring Home Box Office and Sterling Manhattan Cable to its Time Life broadcast division. The Sterling name was subsequently removed from the Manhattan system, which was renamed Manhattan Cable Television. As the acquisition was being completed, HBO was struggling to grow. By October, the service had around 8,000 subscribers across 13 cable systems in Pennsylvania and southern New York State that cumulatively served 110,095 subscribers, 55, and it was suffering from a significant churn rate as subscribers who found the channel's program scheduling repetitive. Because of the limited allotment of movies outside of special events, decided to cancel their service. In January 1974, HBO expanded its programming to an average of 8 hours per day, from 5:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time. As home box office's distribution expanded throughout the northern mid-Atlantic United States, Time national expansion, innovation and rise to prominence, 1975 to 1993, edit, on April 11, 1975. Levin and Time Life unveiled plans to begin distributing the HBO signal via geostationary communications satellite and feed it directly to cable providers throughout the United States. Although television broadcasters at the time were hesitant about venturing into satellite transmissions because of concerns that the satellites may inadvertently shut down or jettison out of their orbit, as well as the cost of purchasing downlink receiver dishes, which in 1974 were sold for as much as $75,000, equivalent to $308,427.89 in 2019 adjusted for inflation, 64, among the limited options available. HBO found satellite technology to be the only efficient method to expand it into a national pay television service. As developing a vast infrastructure of microwave and coaxial telephone relay towers in all 50 states and U.S. territories, including maintaining HBO's existing microwave network, would have been cost-prohibitive for time, expense and geography. The company announced a $7.5 million agreement with RCA Americom Communications to lease a transponder on the then under-construction Satcom I, which was expected to be launched at the end of 1975, for a 5-year term. In addition, cable television equipment manufacturer Scientific Atlanta, per a proposal by company president Sid Topol, agreed to build Earth-based satellite relay stations to beam the signal to and from HBO's Manhattan headquarters and client cable systems. HBO also signed an agreement to distribute the satellite feed on 8 UA Columbia Cablevision systems in California, Texas, Florida, Arizona, Arkansas and Washington state, and have Earth station receivers built at their head ends to intercept and relay the signal. 40, 49, 66, 67, 68, 69. Time. On September 30, 1975 at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Home Box Office became the first television network to continuously deliver its signal via satellite when it transmitted the Thriller in Manila. Televised from the Araneta Coliseum in Cubao, Philippines. Subscribers of UA Columbia's Fort Pierce and Vero Beach, Florida systems and American Television and Communications' Jackson, Mississippi system joined HBO's existing cable and MDS affiliates in the mid-Atlantic U.S., some of which were beginning to transition from microwave to satellite delivery of the network, in receiving the heavyweight championship boxing match that saw Muhammad Ali defeat Joe Frazier by technical knockout, 76, 77, 78. HBO temporarily fed its domestic Eastern and Pacific feeds to Westar 1 for the first 4 months of satellite transmissions. The network's transmissions shifted to Satcom 1 when full-time commercial service began on February 28, 1976, 40, 42, 79, 80, 81. The network's programming expanded with the switch to satellite transmission, operating daily from 1:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time. HBO estimated that 11 cable systems received its signal via satellite by the end of 1975. 86. HBO achieved coast-to-coast distribution in December 1975. When Teleprompter added the network to its Seattle-Tacoma, Washington systems, extending its reach to the West Coast. 81. By 1977, 2 fledgling cable networks had joined HBO in pioneering satellite delivery for the cable television industry, along with conceiving the concept of modern basic cable service. Becoming the first of many to adopt satellite transmission over the coming years, Atlanta-based independent station WTCG-TV, soon to become WTBS, which, through then-owner Ted Turner, became the first independent station to become a national superstation in December 1976, and the upstart CBN satellite service, and later to become the present-day Freeform. Started by Pat Robertson as the first satellite-delivered religious network in April 1977, 42, 87, by April 1976. Home box office reached 386,000 subscribers, 306,000 through its terrestrial microwave landline network, 75,000 through satellite distribution, and 5,000 through MDS-served apartment complexes, 88, increasing to 500,000 subscribers by August 1976. Including 180,000 added through the July 27 closure of its purchase of pay television programming services company Telemation Program Services, which the network achieved full nationwide distribution in December 1978, having garnered 750 cable affiliates in all 50 U.S. states with around 2 million subscribers. 40, 92, 93, programming gradually expanded over time. By January 1979, HBO's programming day lasted between 9 and 11 hours per day, usually from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Time. On June 5, 1981, HBO announced it would transition to a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week programming schedule at the start of 1982-97. Then HBO president James Hayworth said the decision was effectively forced by rival Showtime's announcement of its pending switch to a 24-hour daily schedule effective July 4. Both announcements were made at that year's National Cable Television Association (NCTA) convention, 98, as well as the prior switches of the Movie Channel. On December 1, 1979, 99, and Cinemax, on January 1, 1981, to 24-hour programming. 100, the first phase of the switchover took place on September 4, 1981. When HBO adopted a 24-hour weekend schedule, typically running about 58 consecutive hours, from 5 p.m. Eastern Time. After having only produced a limited amount of unscripted programming since the debut of its first weekly series, Inside the NFL, in September 1977. 1983 saw HBO venture into original scripted programming. On January 3, 1983, the network premiered Not Necessarily the News, a news satire lampooning the week in politics that originally aired as a comedy special in September 1982. The series was cited as having laid the groundwork for satirical news programs that came in later years, such as The Daily Show, The Colbert Report, and a later HBO series, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and featured Conan O'Brien and Greg Daniels, among other notable comics and comedy writers, among its writing staff over its 8-season run. On January 10, 1983, HBO premiered its first regularly scheduled children's program, Fraggle Rock. Created by Jim Henson, who produced the 1978 Ace Award-winning special Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas for HBO, and co-produced with Television South, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and Henson Associates, the series, which ran for 5 seasons, ending in March 1987, centered on a group of various interconnected Muppet species, 102. Later that year, on May 22, 1983, HBO premiered The Terry Fox Story, the first television movie ever produced for the network and the first to be produced for a pay television channel. The biographical film profiled the Canadian amputee runner, Eric Fryer, who embarked on a cross-country run across Canada to raise money and awareness for cancer research before Fox's deteriorating health from advanced cancer, from which he succumbed, ended the trek after 143 days. In August 1984, Home Box Office Inc. announced plans to scramble the HBO and Cinemax satellite feeds using the Video Cipher 2 encryption system. becoming the first satellite-delivered television networks to encrypt their signals from unauthorized reception by approximately 1.5 million C-band dish owners as well as by various businesses, including hotels, motels and bars, that used rooftop satellite antennas to freely receive HBO. Rather than paying for the network through its affiliated cable systems. 106. Periodic testing of video Cipher 2 signal scrambling began to be carried out during promotional breaks between programs on HBO's Pacific Time Zone feed on April 15, 1985, and on its Eastern Time Zone feed on April 29, 107, 108, 109. HBO and Cinemax began scrambling their signals full-time on January 15, 1986. Requiring customers to pay an extra fee to receive one or both networks as their subscribers through cable systems had long done. The switchover elicited widespread complaints fielded to Home Box Office Inc. and satellite dish retailers from television receive-only (TVRO) dish users who previously could view HBO and Cinemax at no extra cost. Particularly because of the cost of video Cipher 2 set-top descramblers needed to unencrypt the signal, retailing up to $395. Plus $12.95 each for a monthly subscription, or $19.95 for a bundling of both HBO and Cinemax, equal to or slightly higher than the network's cable subscription rates. And rental fees for the video Cipher receivers, 110, 111, 112, and spurred congressional lobbying efforts to protect access to satellite transmissions by the Satellite Television Industry Association, Space, and independent satellite dealers, who were worried about the negative impact that the full-time signal scrambling of HBO and Cinemax and its expansion to other basic and premium cable networks had on the satellite business. Soon after the move, satellite dish sales began to plummet sharply and the lost revenue forced several satellite retailers across the U.S. to close. In protest of the adoption of full-time scrambling, on April 27, 1986, John R. McDougal, an Ocala, Florida satellite dish retailer calling himself Captain Midnight, committed an act of broadcast signal intrusion by redirecting a receiver dish towards HBO's Galaxy 1 transponder and intercept the network's signal. A late-night telecast of the 1985 spy drama film The Falcon and the Snowman was overridden by McDougal with a text-based message he wrote that decried the channel's decision to scramble its signal for home satellite subscribers and was placed over SMPTE color bars. The message also warned of possible backlash against other premium services if they followed suit. $12.95. On January 1, 1993, HBO and Cinemax, accompanied by Showtime and the Movie Channel, became the first television services in the world to transmit their signals using digital compression technology. The Digi-Cipher system, developed in 1992 by General Instrument to replace the video Cipher 2 system that was standard among satellite-delivered cable channels, was designed with an advanced encryption algorithm co-developed by AT&T that was structured to prevent the signal piracy issues that were apparent with the video Cipher 2. 130, 131, 132, 133. The adoption of the Digi-Cipher allowed Home Box Office Inc. to transmit 3 HBO feeds and the primary Cinemax channel through the compression standard to participating systems that adopted the technology. Rising prominence of original programming, 1993 to 2016. Edit. During the 1990s, HBO began developing a reputation for high-quality and irreverent original programming. It was throughout this decade that the network experienced increasing success among audiences and acclaim from television critics for original series such as Tales from the Crypt, Dream On, Tracy Takes On, Mr. Show with Bob and David, and Alice. One of the scripted comedy programs that premiered early in the decade, The Larry Sanders Show, arguably became HBO's flagship series of the 1990s. The show enjoyed a cult status and critical acclaim, and received multiple nominations and wins for many major television awards, including 3 Primetime Emmy Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards and 2 Peabody Awards. 135. The original programs that HBO has developed since the early 1990s have earned the channel numerous Emmy and Golden Globe Award nominations and wins. 136. HBO has been nominated in at least one category at the Emmys and Golden Globes since 1988, when the network earned its first Emmy nomination for Danny Glover's performance as Nelson Mandela in the 1987 original movie Mandela, and set a record for the most primetime Emmy nominations for a television network in a single year, 137, in 2019. In July 1997, HBO premiered its first one-hour dramatic narrative series Oz. While Oz was critically acclaimed throughout its 6-season run, it was not until The Sopranos premiered in January 1999 that the network achieved widespread critical success with an hour-long drama series. The Sopranos received 111 Emmy nominations and 21 wins over the course of its 6-season run, including 2 honors for Outstanding Drama Series. The mob drama's first wins for Outstanding Drama and Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series, for Drea de Matteo, in 2004, 2 of the 4 Emmys it won that year, marked the first time that a cable program won in either category over a program on one of the major broadcast networks. 1998 saw the debut of From the Earth to the Moon, costing $68 million to produce and winning 3 Emmy Awards, including for Outstanding Miniseries, and a Golden Globe for Best Miniseries or Television Film. In June 1998, Sex and the City made its debut on the network. Over the course of its 6-season run, the comedy series received 54 Emmy nominations and won 7, including 1 win for Outstanding Comedy Series. And in 2004, the first wins for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series, for Sarah Jessica Parker, and Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series, for Cynthia Nixon, for HBO since the network first gained Emmy eligibility. The 2000s opened with 2 series that maintained similar critical acclaim to The Sopranos, further cementing HBO's reputation as a leading producer of quality television programming. 6 Feet Under and The Wire. The former premiered in August 2001, won 9 Emmys, 3 Screen Actors Guild Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards and a Peabody Award, and other awards. It has since been regarded as one of television's best all-time series, including under rankings by Time, 138, The Guardian, 139, and Empire, 140. The Wire, premiering in June 2002, never won any major television awards, but earned wide critical acclaim for its writing and depictions of criminal and law enforcement issues. It was regarded as one of the best series of all time by media organizations such as TV Guide, 141, Entertainment Weekly, 142, Rolling Stone, 143, and the BBC, 144. The 2003 miniseries Angels in America became the first, and to date, only, program to sweep all 7 major categories at the Primetime Emmys in the ceremony's history. as well as the second program, After Caesar's Hour in 1957, to win all 4 main acting categories during the 2004 ceremony. HBO experienced additional viewer acclaim with the 2008 debut of True Blood, a vampire-themed fantasy horror drama based on the Southern Vampire Mysteries gothic novel series by Charlaine Harris. While earning few major television awards throughout its run, True Blood's average viewership often rivaled that of The Sopranos, peaking at an average of 12.4 million per week, counting repeat and on-demand viewership. During its second season, 145, the network saw 3 more hit series premiere in the 2010s, Game of Thrones, which earned both critical and viewer praise, and set a single-year record for Emmy wins by an individual program in 2015 with 12 awards, 146, Girls, and True Detective. On October 22, 2016, AT&T announced an offer to acquire Time Warner for $108.7 billion, 148, 149, 150, 151. Time Warner shareholders approved the merger on February 15, 2017, 152, on November 20, 2017. The U.S. Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against AT&T and Time Warner in an attempt to block the merger, citing antitrust concerns surrounding the transaction. 153, 154, 155, U.S. Clearance of the proposed merger was affirmed by court ruling on June 12, 2018. The merger closed 2 days later on June 14, 2018. With Time Warner becoming a wholly owned subsidiary of AT&T, which renamed the unit Warner Media. The U.S. Court of Appeals in Washington unanimously upheld the lower court's ruling in favor of AT&T on February 26, 2019. 156, 157, 158, 159, 160, 161, 162, 163. On February 28, 2019, Richard Plepler stepped down from his position as CEO of Home Box Office, Inc. After a collective 27-year tenure at HBO and 12 years as head of the network and its parent unit, 164, on March 4 of that year, AT&T announced a major reorganization of WarnerMedia's assets, dividing WarnerMedia's television properties among 3 corporate divisions. Home Box Office, Inc. was reassigned to Warner Media Entertainment, although it continues to operate as an autonomous subsidiary, placing it under the same umbrella as sister basic cable networks TBS, TNT and True TV, which were formerly part of the dissolved Turner Broadcasting System subsidiary, and under the leadership of former NBC and Showtime executive Bob Greenblatt. 165, 166, on August 7, 2020, Warner Media announced a major corporate reorganization in which Home Box Office, Inc. and other Warner Media Entertainment assets were consolidated with Warner Bros. Entertainment to form a new content division, Warner Media Studios and Networks Group. Casey Bloys, who has served as president of programming for HBO and Cinemax since May 2016, added oversight of HBO Max and WarnerMedia's basic cable networks to his responsibilities. 167, 168, 169, on May 17, 2021, AT&T and Discovery, Inc. reached a definitive reverse Morris Trust agreement, in which Warner Media would spin out from AT&T as an independent company that in turn will acquire Discovery's assets. The $43 billion cash. In an effort to reduce subscriber churn by offering extra programming choices to subscribers, on May 8, 1991, Home Box Office Inc. announced plans to launch 2 additional channels of HBO and Cinemax, becoming the first subscription television services to launch multiplexed companion channels, a term coined by then CEO Michael Fuchs to equate the programming choices that would be provided to subscribers of the channel tier to that offered by multi-screen movie theaters, each available at no extra charge to subscribers of one or both networks. The 3 prior premium services that HBO launched between 1979 and 1987, Cinemax and the now-defunct Take-Two and Festival, were developed as standalone services that could be purchased separately from and optionally packaged with HBO. On August 1, 1991, through a test launch of the 3 channels over those systems, tele-cable customers in Overland Park, Kansas, Racine, Wisconsin and suburban Dallas, Richardson and Plano, Texas, that subscribed to either service began receiving 2 additional HBO channels, and HBO's then Executive Vice President of Marketing, John K. Billick, now President of U.S. Operations for the network, cited internal research that indicated HBO and Cinemax subscribers were prone to canceling their subscriptions because they either believed that neither tended to have anything on worth watching, or, when presented with a full monthly schedule, felt that programs they wanted to watch did not air at preferable times. A November 1991 AC Nielsen survey of 550 tele-cable subscribers in the 3 launch markets determined that HBO and Cinemax's multiplex offerings created positive impacts on subscriber usage and attitudes that factored into whether a subscriber elected to cancel their HBO and. In February 1996, in anticipation of the adoption of MPEG-2 digital compression codecs that would allow cable providers to offer digital cable service, Home Box Office, Inc. announced plans to expand its multiplex services across HBO and Cinemax to 12 channels, counting time zone-based feeds, encompassing a 4th HBO channel and 2 additional Cinemax channels. Originally projected for a spring 1997 launch, 181, the HBO multiplex expanded to include a 4th channel on December 1, 1996, with the launch of HBO Family, focusing on family-oriented feature films and television series aimed at younger children. HBO Family's launch coincided with the launch of Mountain Time Zone feeds of HBO, HBO2, Cinemax and Cinemax 2, which were the first subfeeds ever offered by a subscription television service to specifically serve that time zone. 182, 183, Home Box Office, Inc. began marketing the HBO channel suite and related coastal feeds under the umbrella brand, Multi-Channel HBO, in September 1994. The package was rebranded as HBO The Works, now exclusively classified to the 4 HBO multiplex channels, and later applied to the 3 thematic channels that were launched afterward. In April 1998, the Cinemax tier was accordingly marketed as Multi-Channel Cinemax, and then Multi-Max at the respective times, concurrent with the adoption of the Works package brand. 2 of the channels changed their names and formats. HBO2 was rebranded as HBO Plus, and HBO3 was relaunched as HBO Signature, incorporating content catering toward a female audience. Alongside theatrical films aimed at broader audiences and content from HBO's original made-for-cable movie and documentary libraries, HBO Plus would revert to the HBO2 moniker in September 2002. The HBO Plus brand, modified in 2019 to HBO, remains in use on a multiplex channel of HBO Latin America featuring mainly theatrical movies previously carried on its parent feed. HBO Latin America also operates a separate channel sharing the HBO2 name with the shared U.S. namesake of both services, 184, on May 6, 1999. The HBO multiplex expanded to include two new thematic channels, HBO Comedy, featuring comedic feature films, comedy series from HBO's original programming library, and recent and archived HBO comedy specials, and HBO Zone, aimed at young adults between the ages of 18 and 34, offering theatrical movies, comedy and alternative series, and documentaries from HBO's original programming library, and music videos, 185. Rounding out the HBO multiplex expansion was HBO Latino, a Spanish-language network launched on November 1, 2000. Featuring a mix of dubbed simulcasts of programming from the primary HBO channel as well as exclusive Spanish-originated programs. 186, 187. The multiplex tier continued to be marketed as HBO The Works until December 2004. The HBO linear channel suite did not have an official marketed name for 15 years afterward. Although HBO and Cinemax's respective multiplex packages were marketed collectively afterward, and beforehand, as the HBO. Depending on the service provider, HBO provides up to 7 24-hour multiplex channels, all of which are simulcast in both standard definition and high definition, and available as time zone-based regional feeds, as well as a subscription video-on-demand service, HBO On Demand. Off-the-air maintenance periods of anywhere from a half hour up to 2 hours occur at varied overnight. The flagship channel, HBO airs first-run and blockbuster feature films, original series and made-for-cable movies, sports-focused magazine and documentary series, comedy and occasional concert specials, and documentaries. Newer episodes of the channel's original series are mainly shown on Sunday and Monday evenings as well as on Fridays during the late prime time and late access periods. The channel also airs weekly premieres of recent theatrical or new HBO original movies. Marketed as the HBO Movie Premiere, on most Saturday nights, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The main HBO channel mainly airs R-rated films after 5 p.m. or sometimes as early as 2:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, and TVMA-rated programs, usually edited for daytime airings to limit scenes of graphic violence, and omit sexual content and nudity included in original versions that are shown on the main channel only at night, after 1 p.m. Eastern Time. HBO Comedy launched on May 6, 1999. 190. HBO Comedy features comedic films, as well as rebroadcasts of HBO's original comedy series and stand-up specials. Although the channel broadcasts R-rated films during the daytime hours, HBO Comedy only airs adult comedy specials at night. HBO Family launched on December 1, 1996. 182. HBO Family features movies and series aimed at children, as well as feature films intended for a broader family audience. A block of children's series aimed at the 2 to 11 age demographic. HBO Kids, formerly known as Jam, from August 2001 to January 2016, consisting of programs rated TVY and TVY7, is also offered weekdays from 6 o'clock to, approximately, 8 a.m. Movies and family-oriented original specials occupy the remainder of the channel's daily schedule. 191, 192. Movie presentations on HBO Family are restricted to encompass films rated G, PG or PG-13, or the equivalent TVG, TVPG or TV-14. and as such, it is the only HBO channel that does not air R, NC-17 or TVMA-rated program content. Originally intended as a secondary service for HBO's family-oriented programming, HBO Family assumed exclusivity over the children's programs, which formerly aired in a daily morning block on the main channel, and family-oriented specials, previously shown on HBO in late afternoon or early evening time slots. When HBO stopped running these programs on its primary channel in 2001, HBO currently offers no children's programming on its main channel. Since WarnerMedia's shift of the production contract to HBO Max resulted in the July 2020 discontinuance of a Saturday morning block of series produced by Sesame Workshop added to the primary channel in 2017. Because of this, HBO Family subsequently removed programs from the studio in November 2020, shifting the HBO Kids block exclusively towards archived original children's programs originating on both channels. Despite being a premium service, HBO Family has occasionally been offered on the basic tiers of select cable providers to temporarily replace local television stations removed as a consequence of carriage disputes. Such instances include during Hearst Television's 2012 dispute with Time Warner Cable that resulted in TWC's associated Bright House Networks system in Tampa, Florida, substituting independent station WMOR-TV with HBO Family, 193, and a dispute between Cox Communications and Lynn TV in which the channel was used as a placeholder for Fox affiliate WVBT on Cox's Hampton Roads. Launched on November 1, 2000, although originally slated to debut on September 18 of that year, 195, HBO Latino offers programming catering to Hispanic and Latino American audiences, including HBO original productions, Spanish and Portuguese series sourced from HBO Latin America, dubbed versions of American theatrical releases, and domestic and imported Spanish-language films. Outside of breakaways for exclusive original and acquired programs, and separate promotional advertising between programs, HBO Latino largely acts as a de facto Spanish-language simulcast of the primary HBO channel. All other HBO multiplex channels provide alternate Spanish audio tracks of most of their programming via second audio program feeds. HBO Latino is the indirect successor to HBO en Español. Originally named Selecciones en Español de HBO y Cinemax, which launched in 1989. HBO Signature features high-quality films, HBO original series and specials. Launched on August 1, 1991. The channel was originally known as HBO3 until September 30, 1998, maintaining a genericized format similar to HBO and HBO2. It rebranded as HBO Signature the following day, October 1. When its programming shifted focus around movies, series and specials targeted at a female audience. 189, 184, HBO Zone launched on May 6, 1999. 190, HBO Zone airs movies and HBO original programs aimed at young adults between the ages of 18 and 34. Until Home Box Office, Inc. removed sister network Cinemax's Max After Dark adult programming block and all associated programming from its other television and streaming platforms in 2018. HBO Zone also carried softcore pornographic films acquired for the Cinemax block in late night, dependent on their inclusion on each day's program schedule. As such, it is the only HBO channel that has aired adult-oriented pornographic movies on its regular schedule. Cinemax is an American pay television network owned by the Home Box Office, Inc. subsidiary of Warner Media Entertainment. Originally developed as a companion service to HBO. The channel's programming consists of recent and some older theatrically released feature films, original action drama series, documentaries and special behind-the-scenes featurettes. While Cinemax and HBO operate as separate premium services, their respective channel tiers are very frequently sold as a combined package by many multi-channel television providers. However, customers have the option of subscribing to HBO and Cinemax's corresponding channel packages individually. On August 1, 1980, HBO launched Cinemax, a companion movie-based premium channel created as a direct competitor to the Movie Channel, then a smaller, standalone pay movie service owned by Warner Amex Satellite Entertainment, then part-owned by Warner Media predecessor Warner Communications. 197, Cinemax succeeded in its early years partly because of its reliance on classic movie releases from the 1950s to the 1970s, with some more recent films mixed into its schedule, that it presented uncut and without commercial interruption. At a time when limited head-end channel capacity resulted in cable subscribers only being able to receive as many as 36 channels, up to half of which were reserved for local and out-of-market broadcast stations and public access channels. In most cases, cable operators tended to sell Cinemax and HBO as a singular premium bundle, usually offered at a discount for customers that decided to subscribe to both channels. Cinemax, unlike HBO, also maintained a 24-hour schedule from its launch. Even early in its existence, Cinemax efforted to diversify its programming beyond movies. Beginning in 1984, it incorporated music specials and some limited original programming, among them SCTV Channel and Max Headroom, into the channel's schedule. Around this time, Cinemax also began airing adult-oriented softcore pornographic films and series, containing strong sexual content and nudity, in varying late-night time slots, usually no earlier than 11:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. This programming block, originally airing under the Friday After Dark banner, renamed Max After Dark in 2008 to better reflect its prior expansion to a nightly block, would become strongly associated with the channel among its subscribers and in pop culture. The channel began gradually scaling back its adult programming offerings in 2011. In an effort to shift focus towards its mainstream films and original programs, culminating in the removal of Max After Dark content from its linear and on-demand platforms in 2018. As part of a broader exit from the genre across Home Box Office, Inc.'s platforms, 198, 199, 196, in terms of mainstream programming, Cinemax began premiering original action series in the early 2010s, beginning with the August 2011 debut of Strike Back, which has since become the channel's longest-running original program. Cinemax plans to eliminate scripted programming altogether after its current slate of action series ends in 2020 or early 2021 as Warner Media reallocates its programming resources toward the HBO Max streaming service, shifting the channel back to its original structure as a movie-exclusive premium service. 199, the linear Cinemax multiplex service, as of 2020, consists of the primary feed and 7 thematic channels. More Max, launched in April 1991 as Cinemax 2, In conjunction with HBO2's rollout, Action Max, originally launched as Cinemax 3 in 1995. Thriller Max, launched in 1998, 184, Movie Max, originally launched as the female-targeted W Max in May 2001, Cinemore, a Spanish-language simulcast feed, which originally launched as the young adult focused at Max in 2001, 5-Star Max, launched in May 2001, and Outer Max, launched in May 2001. Take-Two, informally referred to as HBO Take-Two, is a defunct American premium cable television network that was owned by Home Box Office, Inc., then a subsidiary of the Time Life division of Time Inc., which operated from April 1979 to January 1981. Marketed at a family audience and the first attempt at a companion pay service by the corporate HBO entity. The channel's programming consisted of recent and older theatrically released motion pictures. Take-Two was the first of 3 efforts by HBO to maintain a family-oriented pay service. Predating the similarly formatted and short-lived mini-pay service Festival, launched in 1986, and the present-day multiplex channel HBO Family, launched in 1996. On September 21, 1978, Home Box Office Inc. announced it would launch a family-oriented companion, mini-pay, premium service, a channel marketed as a lower-priced pay add-on to cable operators. Often sold in a tier with co-owned or competing premium services, which would be transmitted via a 4th SATCOM iTransponder leased to HBO, 203, originally planned to launch around January 1. Take-Two launched on April 1, 1979, developed at the request of HBO's affiliate cable providers to meet consumer demand for an additional pay television offering. Take-Two was designed to cater to family audiences. The service's format was intended to cater to prospective customers who were reluctant to pay for an HBO subscription because of its cost and the potentially objectionable content in some of its programming. Like HBO's later family programming services, Festival and HBO Family, Take-Two prohibited the broadcast of R-rated theatrical films on its schedule. G and PG-rated movies shown on the service usually made their Take-Two debut no less than 60 days after their initial telecast on HBO, and were the centerpiece of its Movie of the Week premiere presentations. Other programming aired under distinct showcase blocks. Center Stage, featuring movies and specials with leading entertainers. Family Theater, a showcase of G-rated films for family viewing. Passport, an anthology block featuring programs ranging from popular entertainment to cultural events, and Merry Go Round, a showcase of children's movies. Specials and short films, 204, 203, slow subscriber growth and difficulties leveraging HBO's increasingly wide cable carriage to ensure supportable distribution forced the shutdown of Take-Two on January 31, 1981. 204, HBO had already placed resources to grow its secondary, lower-cost, maxi-pay service, Cinemax, which launched in August 1980. Cinemax, which experienced success with its mix of recent and older movies in its first 4 years of operation, replaced Take-Two as an add-on to HBO on many cable systems that carried the latter. Festival. Festival is a defunct American premium cable television network that was owned by Home Box Office, Inc., then a subsidiary of Time Inc., which operated from 1986 to 1988. The channel's programming consisted of uncut and re-edited versions of recent and older theatrically released motion pictures, along with original music. Comedy and nature specials sourced from the parent HBO channel aimed at a family audience. On April 1, 1986, HBO began test marketing Festival on 6 cable systems owned by then-sister company American Television and Communications Corporation. 205, 206, 207, 208. It was aimed at older audiences who objected to programming containing violence and sexual situations on other premium services. Television viewers that did not already have cable service, and basic cable subscribers with no existing subscription to a premium service, focusing classic and recent hit movies, documentaries, and HBO's original stand-up comedy, concert, nature and ice skating specials. Notably for a premium service, Festival aired re-edited R-rated movies intended to fit a PG rating. 209, 210. Festival ceased operations on December 31, 1988. Home Box Office, Inc. cited the inability to expand distribution because of channel capacity limitations at most cable company headends for the closure of the channel. At the time of its shutdown, Festival had an estimated 30,000 subscribers, far below HBO's reach of 15.9 million subscribers and a distant last place in subscriber count among the 8 American premium cable services in operation at the time. September 1993 is a defunct American Spanish-language premium cable television service that was owned by Home Box Office, Inc., then a subsidiary of Time Warner, which operated from 1989 to 2000. The service's programming consisted of Spanish-dubbed versions of recent and older theatrically released motion pictures, and select HBO original and event programming aimed at a Hispanic and Latino audience. The service is a predecessor to HBO Latino, which replaced HBO en Español in November 2000. On January 2, 1989, Selecciones en Español de HBO y Cinemax, Spanish selections from HBO and Cinemax, a Spanish-language audio feed transmitted through, depending on the cable system affiliate, either an auxiliary second audio program channel, accessible through built-in and external multi-channel audio decoders, or audio simulcasts via FM radio, launched. The service, which initially launched on 20 cable systems in markets with significant Hispanic and Latino populations, and aimed specifically at Spanish-dominant and first-language Spanish speakers, 215, 216, 211, originally provided Spanish-dubbed versions of recent feature film releases from HBO and Cinemax's movie suppliers. By that spring, Selecciones' offerings expanded to include Spanish audio simulcasts of HBO's live boxing matches, except for certain events broadcast exclusively in Spanish on networks such as Galavision. Selecciones en Español de HBO y Cinemax, replaced by 2 dedicated channel feeds, HBO en Español and Cinemax en Español, on September 27, 1993. Effectively acting as part-time simulcast feeds with added first-run Spanish-language movies, mostly from Mexico, Argentina and Spain, and Spanish dubs of HBO's non-sports event original programming, quickly gained interest from providers, expanding to an additional 35 cable systems in various U.S. markets in the weeks following its debut. 211, 217, 218, 219, other services. HBO HD, originally called HBO HD TV from March 1999 until April 2006, is a high-definition simulcast feed of HBO that broadcasts in the 1080i resolution format. 220, HBO maintains high-definition simulcast feeds of its main channel and all 6 multiplex channels. HBO HD is available on all major cable television providers including, among others, Charter Communications, including systems once owned by former HBO sister company Time Warner Cable. Comcast Xfinity, which, in 2016, began down-converting HBO, Cinemax and other cable channels transmitting in 1080i to 720p 60, 221, Cox Communications and Optimum, as well as DirecTV, AT&T Uverse, and Verizon FIS. From the 2008 rollout of HD simulcasts for the HBO multiplex feeds until the mid-2010s, the majority of pay television providers that carried HBO HD generally offered only the main channel in high definition, with HD carriage of the multiplex channels varying by market. As of 2020, most providers transmit all 7 HBO multiplex channels in HD, either on a dedicated HD channel tier separate from their SD assignments or as hybrid SD. HBO On Demand is HBO's companion subscription video on demand (SVOD) service that is available at no additional cost to subscribers of the linear television service, who regularly pay a premium fee to pay television providers to receive access to the channel. VOD content from the network is also available on select virtual MVPD services, including sister properties AT&T TV, AT&T TV Now and AT&T Watch TV, and Hulu, and through HBO's dedicated OTT video channels on Apple TV channels, Amazon Video channels, and the Roku channel. HBO On Demand offers theatrical feature films from HBO's distribution partners and original programming previously seen on the network, including weekly series, documentaries, sports magazine and documentary programs, and concert and stand-up comedy specials. The service's rotating program selection incorporates newer film titles and episodes that are added to the platform following their debut on the linear feed, as well as library content, including complete seasons of the network's past and present original programs. 228, HBO On Demand, the first SVOD service to be offered by an American premium service. Launched on July 1, 2001, over then sister company Time Warner Cable's Columbia, South Carolina system. 229, the service was developed to allow HBO subscribers access to the channel's programming at their choosing, thereby reducing the frequency in which viewers were unable to find a program they prefer to watch and limiting cancellations to the service because of that issue. On January 3, 2011, HBO became the first pay television network to offer VOD content in 3D, initially available to linear HBO subscribers signed with Time Warner Cable, Comcast and Verizon FIS. 3D content consisted of theatrical feature films available in the format 230 in the United Kingdom. A domestic version of HBO On Demand was launched in 2015 to subscribers of IPTV provider TalkTalk TV, which provide HBO's program offerings through the provider's UV set-top boxes via a standalone VOD subscription. HBO Go is an international TV everywhere streaming service for broadband subscribers of the linear HBO television service. It was accessible through play.hbogo.com. and through apps for Apple iOS and Apple TV devices, 231, 232, Android devices and Android TV, 231, Amazon Fire TV, 233, Chromecast, 234, PlayStation consoles, PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, 235, Xbox One consoles, 236, Roku devices, 237, and most Samsung Smart TV models, 238. Content available on HBO Go included theatrically released films, sourced from the network's pay television, contractual windows for recent studio releases and from library content agreements with film distributors, and HBO original programming, including scripted series, made-for-cable movies, comedy specials, documentaries, and sports documentary and magazine programs, 239, HBO Go, along with companion service HBO Now and HBO Max, did not provide live simulcasts of the 7 linear HBO channels. HBO and Cinemax are the only American premium television services not to include live network feeds in their proprietary streaming VOD platforms. Based on the prototype HBO on broadband service that was originally launched in January 2008 to linear HBO subscribers of Time Warner Cable's Green Bay and Milwaukee, Wisconsin systems, HBO Go launched nationwide on February 18, 2010. Initially available to existing HBO subscribers signed with Verizon FIS, 240, initially carrying 1,000 hours of program content available for streaming in standard or high definition. The on-demand streaming service was conceived as a TV Everywhere platform marketed exclusively to existing subscribers of the linear HBO television service. The HBO Go website and mobile apps, including its apps for streaming devices such as Roku and Apple TV, and some video game consoles, required a password accompanying a linear HBO subscription by a participating television provider in order to access content on the service. On June 12, 2020, Warner Media announced that HBO Go's mobile and digital media player apps would be discontinued in the US on July 31. As most traditional and virtual MVPDs have secured distribution deals for HBO Max. Those providers that have not yet made an HBO Max deal continue to allow customer access to HBO Go, mainly Altus USA's brands, Mediacom, smaller cable providers, and closed-circuit university television systems which had not had personnel available during the COVID-19 pandemic to contractually transfer their credentials to HBO Max. Though only through the HBO Go desktop website. The HBO Go moniker remains in use as the brand for HBO's streaming platforms in select European, Latin American and Asian markets. 241. HBO Now. HBO Now, formerly named HBO from August to December 2020, is a defunct over-the-top OTT subscription streaming service that provided on-demand access to HBO's library of original programming and theatrical films, and was marketed independent of a pay television subscription to the linear HBO service as a standalone platform targeting cord cutters. 242. HBO Now was available online and as apps for Apple iOS and Apple TV devices. 14. Android tablets, phones and Android TV devices. Amazon Fire TV. 243. Roku devices. 244. Xbox consoles, Xbox 360 and Xbox One. 245. PlayStation consoles, PlayStation 3 and later. 246, and select TiVo devices. 247, and is a premium add-on through Amazon Prime Video, Sling TV, 248, AT&T TV and Hulu, 244. On October 15, 2014, HBO announced plans to launch an OTT subscription streaming service in 2015, which would be distributed as a standalone offering that does not require an existing television subscription in order to access content. 249, 250, 251. The service, HBO Now, was unveiled on March 9, 2015, and officially launched 1 month later on April 7, 14, 242, 252, 253. The service was initially available via Apple Inc. to Apple TV and iOS devices for a 3-month exclusivity period following its formal launch, before becoming available for subscription through other participating Internet service providers. 14, 242, available for $15 per month. HBO Now was identical to the former HBO Go in terms of content and features. New episodes of HBO series were made available for streaming on the initial air date, and usually uploaded at their normal air time of their original broadcast on the main linear HBO channel, 254, by February 2019. Subscribership of HBO Now subscribers had reached over 8 million customers, 255. On June 12, 2020, Warner Media announced that HBO Now would be rebranded solely as HBO on August 1. Following HBO Max's launch, the HBO streaming service had served as the network's default OTT platform for Roku customers. As Warner Media has not yet signed deals to distribute HBO Max on that platform, until its replacement by HBO Max on those platforms in November 2020. It also served as a default HBO OTT service for Amazon Fire and Fire TV customers, 241, as a consequence of an agreement with Warner Media announced the day prior to offer HBO Max on Roku devices. Starting the following day, the HBO streaming service was discontinued on December 17, 2020. 256. HBO Max, edit, main article, HBO Max. HBO Max is an over-the-top subscription streaming service operated by Warner Media Direct. Though built around HBO's programming, HBO Max serves in principle as a content hub for Warner Media's broader entertainment assets. In addition to featuring original programs and licensed theatrical films from HBO, which is compartmented into a dedicated library, hub, one of 9 focused on individual Warner Media properties. That includes both programs available on the linear television service and supplemental VOD-exclusive archive programming. It offers standalone original programming and library content sourced from Warner Bros. Studios, Warner Media's various television network and distribution properties, including, among others, Warner Bros. Television Group, including content from Warner Bros. Television Studios, Warner Bros. Television Studios International and Formats, Warner Horizon Scripted Television, Warner Horizon Unscripted and Alternative Television, Telepictures and Alloy Entertainment, CNN Worldwide and Turner Entertainment Networks, including content from Turner Studios and Studio T, and third-party distributors. The service is available online through participating mobile and broadband providers, including co-owned AT&T Mobility. Through subscriptions to the linear HBO add-on tier via traditional and virtual pay television providers, including YouTube TV, 257, Hulu, 258, and HBO Max sister properties AT&T TV, DirecTV and AT&T Uverse, which, by way of the latter platform, shared AT&T ownership and is with AT&T Mobility, allowed their subscribers access to the service at launch for no additional charge. And through apps for Android tablets, phones and Android TV devices. Apple iOS and Apple TV devices, 259, Amazon Fire OS devices, including Amazon Fire tablets and Fire TV devices, 260, Roku devices, 256, Xbox One and PlayStation 4 consoles.